Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's football show, sponsored by Arnold Clark. It is Monday. I'm Peter Martin. Thank you very much for joining us on the programme. And in the studio tonight, Alan Ruff and Alison McConnell are here ready to assess the week with European football on the agenda and look back over the weekend's Premiership matches. Well, as ever, we'll be talking about goals, performances of your favourite team, but racism, never too far away from the sport. And we'll also be talking about dementia as well, and looking into a report which has just been released on professional footballers and the potential for them to get dementia in later life. That's all to come on the programme. We'll hear from Derek McInnes on Aberdeen's good win at the weekend, and that forms part of what Gabriel Antoniazzi, our reporter, is looking at now.
Celtic moved top of the table on goal difference with a 6-0 romping of Ross County. Hamilton Accies held Hibernian to a 1-1 draw, keeping the visitors down in 11th place. Kilmarnock won again and move up to 5th as things start to click under Angelo Alessio. A makeshift Aberdeen side beat Motherwell 3-0 to show their intentions of finishing 3rd this season. St Mirren won for the first time in 7 games as they keep St Johnstone bottom, and Rangers slipped to 2nd after a deserved 1-1 draw with Hearts, who were much improved.
Well, of course, Celtic had gone top of the league with their win over Ross County, but the focus of attention yesterday was certainly on Tynecastle for the early kick-off between Hearts and Rangers. Didn't quite live up to it, Ruffy, as far as football purists are concerned, but as ever with that stadium, it's rocking. There's a fair bit of aggression on show from Hearts. They battled to a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, I think any of the supporters who were at the game would have enjoyed it for the physical part of it. You know, there was a lot of instances that they would have been off their seats. I thought Hearts got their tactics right, as they usually do when the old firm come calling. They get in about them, they don't make it easy for them, particularly at the back. I think the Rangers centre-halves did not like getting bullied about, and it took them a while to get used to it, and the goal was obviously a mistake. But no, I think on the whole, I think everybody would enjoy the game.
Yeah, here's a phrase you don't often hear. Unusually this season, a yellow card for Alfredo Morelos. But again, he scored his goal. He's got 15 for the season. And the only downside to it is, I mean, he's one of those players, he's an all-action player. He likes to, noise up the crowd from time to time. But again, there's an allegation of someone guilty of racist abuse towards him, which is just unacceptable.
It's becoming boring. The fact that we're still talking about this, it should be, you've got to hammer it. You have to make an example of people who are guilty of it. You have to try and educate. If you cannot educate and you cannot enlighten people through education, then you have to make it sociably unacceptable to have any form of racist chanting or racist slogans or any abuse whatsoever. You have to come down hard on it. It's the only way. I remember reading a thing by Mark Walters in I think it might have been the 20th anniversary of the infamous banana throne, and he was saying people haven't changed or didn't change because they were told to, because there was an explanation offered for the hurt that goes behind it, for the offence that they caused, but because there were punishments that went with it. People were forced to change rather than encouraged to change, and I think you have to take that on board. Yeah, and the allegation is that a Hearts fan was guilty of racist abuse towards Alfredo Morelos. One thing I would say, that Hearts certainly are quick to condemn this sort of behaviour, and to be fair, looking back at her history, Anne Budge is quick to hand out indefinite bans to anyone who tarnishes the name of the club. This is what Hearts had to say after the allegation. The club is aware of the incident in question
question and is currently investigating it. It goes without saying that Heart of Midlothian Football Club utterly condemns any form of racism, and any individuals found guilty of such an offence will face an indefinite ban from Tynecastle Park, and that's all you can ask from the club. And you know, you're looking, we're in the middle of show racism, the red card, Ruffy. I mean, people are holding up cards. I personally believe some of it is tokenism. I think we should have more money invested in educating people about racist abuse, sectarian abuse, homophobia as well, and just try and emphasise to people that they've got to conduct themselves in a proper manner going to a game of football. I mean, it is not a free-for-all to abuse people. No, and we keep having to push that message, but I'm in Alison's camp. I think it's the punishment. It's the punishment. I would like to think the idiots, if they're going to get thrown in jail for 3 or 6 months, will get the message. But unfortunately, there's some of them out there just don't get it. But I think if you were to pursue it that way, I know a lifetime ban is very, very good, but I would go further than that. I think you have to let the people round about these people that are doing it really know this is what's going to happen to you. I know it's difficult to get it through the courts and all that, but I think we should be finding avenues to do it. Yeah, and Show Racism, the Red Card, as an organisation in Scotland, have released a statement regarding these incidents. We are deeply distressed that again another horrible incident has taken place at the highest level of Scottish football. This abuse directed at Alfredo Morelos has been caught on live TV and circulated across social media, seen by millions. Yet these rising incidents of racism in football remain far outnumbered by those that do not make the headlines. Hearts are proactive in their efforts to eradicate inappropriate behaviour, and we are confident this will continue following the incident and that necessary action will be taken. While punishment is necessary, we are strongly urging Scottish football to lead the way in supporting us and local schools to educate the future generations. Well, I have to say, you know, Show Racism, the Red Card in Scotland, with Derek Ferguson and Mickey Weir and others, they do a tremendous job, and long may it continue. I still feel as if there should be sufficient funds to try and extend the great work that they're doing, and it certainly shouldn't be over a 2-week campaign to try and get everybody aware of the perils of racist abuse and other abuse that surfaces in Scottish football. So I don't think, even on the back of Yeovil Town and of course players walking off the park and off the back of the game in Bulgaria with England, it just highlights that we have got a huge job in our hands to continue getting the positive message out and try and educate the people who think it's okay to come and abuse people at a sporting event. Anyway, from one football match to the other, Celtic stormed to the top of the table, 6-0, Ruffy. You were there, hobnobbing it as ever. There's never a game you go to unless you've got a starter, a main course and a suite. No, it was unstoppable. I think you've heard the ask Ross County. They just couldn't get near Celtic at all. One-touch football at pace, and honestly, it could have been 10. It could have been 10 quite easy. The goalkeeper had a fantastic Laidlaw, a fantastic weekend, but Celtic were just buzzing and far, far too strong for them. Yeah, it was quite chilling at one point. One of the reporters, I was at the game at Fir Park, and one of the reporters turned around and he said Celtic are winning 1-0 and they've had 21 shots at the Ross County goal. Yeah, to be honest, I think a hammering like that was coming from Celtic. I think the way they've been playing. When I actually was at Hamilton and Hibs on Saturday and saw the scoreline being only 1-0 and heard a somebody like you, someone saying apparently Celtic are dominating and all over it, and then all of a sudden you had a burst. I think was it 4 goals in 9 minutes or something at the start of the second half, and you just feel for a team like Ross County, whenever the second goes in, if it's early enough in the game, you just sense that there can be a collapse and a scoreline like that. But I think the way that Neil Lennon has them set up, the attacking fullbacks, the two wingers, and then you've got Edward in the middle. I think they're a team who look for goals, who are capable of scoring goals. I think there's only been one game. I think that Livingston game might be the only game out of 20 or 21 games where Celtic haven't scored this season. And I think you can expect a few games like that. Yeah, and yet another star emerging, Jeremy Frimpong, certainly caught everyone's eye, Ruffy. Yeah, traditional attacking fullback. Celtic just seem to churn them out. Fantastic going forward. Again, I always worry about players like that defensively. All they're thinking about is attack. If they can
clean up their act defensively. They've actually got another star in their hands.
Yeah, okay. We are going to hear from Aberdeen boss Derek McInnes. He reckons at times Sam Cosgrove is unplayable. Is he the best striker in Scotland right now? If you're a Rangers fan, is it Alfredo Morelos? If you're a Celtic fan, is it Odsonne Edouard? All these questions and much, much more will be answered after we give you this week's quiz question. Yeah, I think all those points there would, obviously have bamboozled most of us until Ruffy spotted the Kylie Minogue song, and that just probably nailed it for him. That's him. He's all over that quiz answer. Anyway, here's a look at how the scores actually panned out. I'll get it right. Here's the results over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Celtic with a 6-0 that we mentioned. Hamilton 1, Hibs 1, Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1, Motherwell 0, Aberdeen 3, St Mirren 2, St Johnstone 0, and that draw at Tynecastle, Hearts 1, Rangers 1. While I was at Fir Park, certainly I thought Motherwell might cause Aberdeen problems. It didn't actually pan out that way. Quite simply, they were in blistering form. I mean, they've got players coming back, more players on the way back as well, and this was the real Aberdeen that I think we witnessed. They dismantled Motherwell.
It was a surprising result. I actually fancied that Motherwell might have taken something, or at least get a draw out of the game. I think Aberdeen have gone through a fairly sticky, inconsistent patch just in this opening quarter of the league, but I think if he gets everyone back, if he gets the players who have been out back, playing consistently and up to a level of fitness, you'll see a more consistent Aberdeen between now and the turn of the year, and then where they go on from January will be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the 3 great goals as well. I mean, Cosgrove's chip was sublime, Ruffy.
Yeah, I think if anybody else had done that, a Messi or an Aldo would all be absolutely going on about it for weeks and weeks.
Let's get a grip, Ruffy, with Sam Cosgrove.
No, it's not like that, but I'm saying if any of these two had done that, we would be going, wow, look at the ability. And it takes a lot of ability and confidence, to have it in your makeup that you can actually attempt that. I think we saw, remember, there used to be a penalty kick, somebody would be trying that wee dink, and I can't remember who it was, but it went dramatically wrong in a semi-final or a final.
Yeah.
So, but it's okay if it comes off, it's fantastic, but that just shows you the confidence he's got just now.
Just out of curiosity, for the benefit of younger viewers, do you remember the guy who actually came up with the ultimate penalty in this? Do you know who it was that actually they named it after?
The Czech, Panenka,
yeah. And do you know when he did it, Ruffy?
In the final of a European Cup. No, not a European Cup, a European Championship.
Yeah.
Czech Republic.
I'm happy with you. It was actually the old Czechoslovakia when they were all together against Sepp Maier, no less. And the penalty, not Step as you announced him last week, but Sepp Maier. And the penalty was to win it. I mean, that takes some bottle, to be honest with you. And the only one I think there's a number of people have done it over the years, but I think Pirlo has obviously managed to do a cool one as well. But Sam Cosgrove was going in and goal, lovely chip, and even Derek McInnes has been waxing lyrical about the centre forward.
Thankfully Joe's made a brilliant save. I mean, you get a keeper doing that at that end after 5 minutes, and then Sam finishing with a kind of confidence. It probably suggests to where Sam's game is at the minute. He finished the way he did. That triggers, that inspires the rest of the team. The confidence of your goal and your number 9 doing that sends out the confidence, and I thought from going ahead, I thought we were very good in the game.
Yeah, if Aberdeen play like that every week, suddenly they'll be moving up 3rd place, and then maybe taking a few scalps along the way in Glasgow. They're more than capable of it when they are firing in all cylinders. And there were so many positive performances, and you just wonder, Alison, when they do get the players back, if Derek again will be able to for me, work miracles. I was speaking to some of the Don's backroom team, and the training ground, the area at Kingsford is now all looking great. It looks as if they'll be moving in there shortly.
Yeah, it's another string to their bow. I think that can be really important when it comes to attracting players to the club. I think it's something else if you have that facility. It's not just great for the club and the existing players there to work with and have a bit of scope to plan and have your own place to train. I think if you're a big club, you need it. That's the first thing. But I also think it can be good when it comes to attracting potential players. You want to bring players in. But of course, nothing matters to anyone. Nothing matters to supporters or to anyone else other than what you do, what results you get on a Saturday.
Yeah,
that's ultimately.
I have to say, on picking up on that point, Ali, Derek McInnes has said, when they get their players back, they'll be climbing up that league. It's
been a challenging couple of weeks for us since the Rangers game, but the response, going down to 10 men and getting an equaliser against Hibs and carrying that on into today does the team no harm at all, and the confidence and a bit of belief back into the supporters, which is important. But we'll be good this year. I'm confident the squad we've put together, if we can get them fit and on the pitch, will meet the demand that's expected of us.
Well, if there was a high for Aberdeen, there certainly was a low for Motherwell. Stephen Robinson didn't shirk the fact that it was a poor Motherwell performance, but they're still up there in third.
It was one of those days. We'll live and learn from it. We'll go again. We're still sitting third, and as I say, if you look at the three boys today, they're very young boys that made individual errors today, and they'll learn from it and get stronger and get better from it.
I have to ask you, Ali, as I look at the other games, Hamilton won, Hibs won, not exactly filling the Hibs fans full of great cheer, but Stevie Mallon comes out with the line, we're going to give somebody an absolute battering one day. It should have been Saturday, surely.
Absolutely, that was a game I was at on Saturday, and for the first half, you think Hibs scored, Stevie Mallon scored a fantastic goal. Daryl Hogan just before it, a few minutes before it, missed arguably the sitter of the season, and I think Mallon scored in 22 minutes or something. Hamilton had barely touched the ball, and you think they'll go on, they'll win this comfortably 2 or 3-0. Kind of Ross Cunningham got in front of Mallon a trip. Hamilton had a penalty, came back into it, and just from the minute that the penalty was awarded, you could sense the puncturing of Hibs' resolve. You could just feel it go out entirely. Such, I think, is the fragility in the squad just now, and such is the lack of belief. I think 58 minutes, I think, the penalty was scored, so you've got a good half an hour to come back into it. It was only the last 2 or 3 minutes where they even came close to doing anything again. I think there's real problems there. I think there's a real lack of belief, a lack of spirit. And 10th position, I think they're only a couple of points clear of St Johnstone. You wonder, are you going to turn a corner, and when is it going to come?
Yeah, well, St Mirren turned a corner roughly 2-0 against St Johnstone. We have to give them praise because you mentioned it's been coming, you tipped them to win. Yeah, they've been champing at the door. They've been not getting the wee break of the ball round about the 6-yard box, and they certainly, once they got the first goal, you could see the confidence building in them, and obviously they got the second one. St Johnstone in a bad way just now. I really think that St Johnstone have got better players than what they are sitting in that league just now, but they're just not turning it on. All credit to St Mirren. I thought they did very well, and again, an overhead kick. I thought it had been somebody else that had done that, would be raving about it, but we just seem to take it for granted. Yeah, Kelly up to 5th with a 2-1 win over Livingston. Just shows you, Ali, I'd tipped Alessio for the sack 3 games in. Listen, I think we all had. I was at a few of those early press conferences too, and you think, gosh, there's a communication barrier, the team aren't playing well, and you think it doesn't augur well for a campaign, but it just shows you a wee bit of patience, and I think the players there have clearly bought into whatever it is he's trying to do. I'm not sure if maybe in the aftermath of the Kirk Broadfoot incident and some public criticism, if everyone sits down and has a conversation and there's a clear air, I don't know, but certainly they look like a unified team, and nothing unifies a dressing room than winning games and moving up the table. But for me, they've been the real surprise of the season, given the way they started. I was going to say to you, have a look at that table, there it is in all its glory. St Johnstone, I don't think anybody will be putting Tommy Wright under pressure, and I think the record of Tommy Wright is justification enough for the board just to stick by him. I am sure he will get it right. I'm 100% certain of that. That's the one thing about St Johnstone's board. I don't think they are a knee-jerk reacting board. Hibs, as Ali mentioned, just 3 points ahead of them with Hearts there. It's not good reading for both halves of Edinburgh. And then Celtic at the top with that solitary goal, scored more than Rangers. The goal difference is similar, but Celtic have scored 1 goal more in the for column, and I think that edges them up to the top of the table. So it's neck and neck at the top, and at the bottom some scary moments ahead. Just before we go, Ruffy, got to mention a couple of things. Here's a quick look at the Scottish Cup third round draw. Obviously the big guns are not all in there, but there's some tasty games for everybody to get their teeth in, and Thistle have Pennycook Athletic or Stenhouse Muir, which is good because Thistle will be on a high after that win at the weekend over Dundee.
Yeah, and it certainly didn't look that way the way I was looking at it. Obviously the Dundee winning with about 9 minutes to go and 3 goals in the last part of the game, so you'll take that away for a team like Dundee. No, I think you want a wee run. There are good runs in the cup, sort of a breed onto the league position as well, so no, that's a good one. The Auchinleck one is the one I think Dick wouldn't be looking forward to going into Auchinleck. It's been a bit of a game down there, and they're getting a bit of a reputation of beating the big ones.
Yeah, he's talking about Dick Campbell there. Here's the second half of that draw, and there you can see some teams that will be hoping they can suddenly get past this round. Linlithgow Rose against Falkirk should be an absolute cracker. We really need to go back to Linlithgow Rose, Ruffy. Do you remember the last time we were there for Linlithgow Rose, the game got abandoned? Yeah. What were you driving that day? Just tell everybody, just so that you can forget your values and where you were brought up.
It was a Bentley. I have to add, it wasn't mine.
We borrowed a Bentley for that day. we were heading in there thinking we were kingpins until the snow paid to any chance of watching Linlithgow Rose. I don't think we'll get a Bentley. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think we'll get a Bentley this time around. Just one little other point which I think is worrying, Ruffy. The report comes out today about dementia, and footballers are 3 times more likely to contract dementia the later in life, because footballers, because of their activity and their constant training, they're more likely to live longer, but more likely to contract dementia. Yeah,
and unfortunately it's the older players, who are obviously retired for the game, who had to suffer, who were sort of breaking it down to the ball, the heavy ball and the header and day-to-day and matches and everything. That seems to be taking, really hitting hard on everybody, and it's a shame, that the players way back then had to put up with that. The
good bit of news for you, Ruffy, is you're more likely to live longer, which is great news for you and I in the tennis.
Mm-hmm. Yep, feeling a wee bit healthier.
Yeah.
You always feel good after playing you anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. There you are. One day I'll get you, maybe the next couple of years. Anyway, as ever, always good to have Alison McConnell with us on the Monday alongside Ruffy. Hopefully if you want to interact with us, you can across all our social media platforms. If it's Twitter, Facebook Live as ever, Monday to Friday, we're there just reacting to your points on Facebook. And over and above that, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you'll get all the notifications on our live content. Don't forget, download the app on PLZ Soccer, and you can get all the information, the breaking stories from across the world, and some unique video content and competitions as well. So with that in mind, thanks to Ruffy, thanks to Ali, and from me, Peter Martin, thanks for watching.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.